Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 16 of the Ukatsu podcast. We have made 16 consecutive weeks. That is 4 months of podcasts. My name is Joe, one of the hosts, one of the co-founders of Ukatsu, but I'm not important. With me is, in front of me, Mr. Sammons.
Hello, I'm back.
All right, welcome to the podcast. Very lucky to have you. Next up, we have the lovely Liv.
Hello, I like the alliteration.
Well, that's the same alliteration I used last week, so don't be too flattered. And finally, last but not least, the beautiful Ben.
I think the hardest part of a podcast is figuring out the first thing to say on the mic. So hello, here we are.
Hello, here we are. Let's get started. Without further ado, we have number one, Ukatsu relevant news. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. That's the Madden theme. We have Encore Week. What is Encore Week, Liv?
It is an extra week after Camp Ukatsu, so the week of July 29th, and we are bringing back 3 individual day camps for the different video games throughout the summer. So we got Fortnite on Monday, we got League of Legends on Wednesday, and then Friday we got some FPS games like Overwatch, CSGO.
Other.
What?
Well, no, that's what we're calling them. This is the
Oh.
other
other.
day camp featuring the FPS games that you
Miscellaneous Friday.
We didn't want to call it shooter games.
Shooter day.
We didn't want to call it shooter
Yeah.
day. That's not quite exactly right, but sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. You go ahead and finish, Liv.
CSGO, Overwatch, and Rainbow Six Siege.
So things with guns in it.
What about Minecraft? Well, how
Minecraft.
do I feel about include Minecraft?
Maybe
in
we'll
other
do a
day?
little Minecraft afterwards. That's actually a perfect segue into our next news relevant thing. It's not necessarily like an announcement or anything, but recently, boys and girls and parents, we've noticed a resurgence in games like Minecraft and Rainbow Six. Thoughts?
I'm baffled. I am so baffled. It started with one kid being like, I want to play Minecraft. And then like 4 kids around him, you want to play Minecraft? I want to play Minecraft. And then they instantly dropped Fortnite and there's like Minecraft time.
Yeah.
And I've never seen anything like it. It was insane.
Yep. A part of that attributed to the new updates that came out. Was there 2 big updates? There was like the Sea update.
Yep.
There was the Dungeons update. Is that what it's called? Like
Yeah.
the Pillager up there. I'm sorry, guys. I don't play that much Minecraft. But those back to back really brought back Minecraft for streamers, I think.
Yep, that's what I was gonna say.
Yeah. And then the kids want to play it now. And they're not even like actually playing the new content that much. They're just playing the old stuff.
Yep.
Uh-huh.
Yep, and I think that's exactly what it is. You saw those updates; they were huge. We'll probably have to talk about it at another time, but I think you hit the nail on the head. Well, one, other games get harder. People are kind of figuring out what they want to do, what they want to stream.
Fortnite's getting harder.
There you go. Yeah, Fortnite's getting harder. So people are streaming different things again, and yeah, kids are seeing their favorite streamers going back to Minecraft. And for some of these really younger kids, this is like the first time they've played Minecraft or like actually got into it. Last time they played, they were like 8 years old,
They
something
didn't
like
really
that.
understand what
Yep.
they were doing.
Yeah, and even now, even some of the high schoolers, like, let's be honest, they weren't really playing Minecraft, and they were a couple of years ago, some of them. But yeah, no, here they are, and now it's back. It's great.
And so because of that, we may see more Minecraft and also Rainbow Six Siege. Still very popular. They always have new updates coming out. We know every single time we visit a high school, it's like, hey, do you guys ever plan on doing a Rainbow Six Siege League? And the answer is yes. We might have to do it privately because that's a whole nother battle to conquer when it comes to public schools and realistic military shooters. But we are in full support of Rainbow Six Siege. I, in fact, have been picking it up a little bit more. Shout out to Eli, Jeffrey, Joey, Kevin, everyone on Discord who's kind of playing with me. It makes it a lot more fun, personally. So with that Ukatsu relevant news, you will see more potentially events around these games. Not just Overwatch, not just League, and of course, not just Fortnite. There you go. People, we're willing to adapt. Does that mean you're going to play with us, Sammons? You're already playing Minecraft.
I know, I'm already playing Minecraft. Minecraft it's fun. It's fun. Though every time Ben walks by, he's got criticism of my farm, so I
What's
don't know
wrong
how I
with
feel
this
about
farm,
that.
Ben?
All right, he's got this floating island looking thing. I'm just like, there's some things he adds aesthetically. I watched that before his cave entrance. He put like he put like wool to make it look like a big old arching doorway.
wool,
but then he's got like this floating building that's just supported by one wooden stair. Like, you could build supports. Like, we're worried about aesthetics here as he's placing these fences like
I mean,
perfectly evened out. He's just
not
got like
Fortnite.
this floating thing that's held up by
No,
one
see, dude,
stair.
I
Like, you
have
could
good-
build some columns or something.
I could go into a long defense of my builds, but in short, it is I don't want to worry about zombies when I'm farming.
I guess Minecraft is what you make of it, right?
Yep.
No judgment. It's the playground. It's the sandbox of gaming. So I still remember when I first played Minecraft. I was not able to afford Minecraft, but I played it, and I had a lot of fun just making 100 chickens in my chicken pen farm. I don't know why I was so satisfied with that, but that's what happened to me. Liv, do you have a Minecraft story you would like to tell?
No, I didn't really play Minecraft. I was a Nintendo person until college, so I didn't really get to play many video games until then.
Maybe now's the time to jump in with the kid at Open Play. But let's get to our final piece of Ukatsu relevant news, which is you might have been seeing more people around. Who are these strangers, you may be asking? Well, they're the Ukatsu volunteers and mentors that are not Ben and Joe, which means you will be seeing less of Ben and less of Joe. Don't panic, though, because these people are just as creative and outgoing and unique in their own way. But what does that really mean? Why are we bringing this up? Why is this important, Ben?
Why is this important? Well,
Why do we not get to see more of Ben and Joe?
yeah, well, we're doing important things. We don't want to be here forever. You guys don't want us to be here forever. You guys want more Ukatsus for your cousins and such. And, yeah, important to grow. So if you want new equipment, because the chairs are falling apart, and we want to fix those, so we need to get out there and get that money so we can grow the business. It's time for us to start showing off the world all the growth that you guys have and what we've been doing for the last 2 years. And, yeah, so we're not going to be here around any longer, and these guys are going to take our spots. So don't
you make
message
this sound
us.
so sudden.
Yeah. So
We're gonna disappear, and
yeah.
you'll never see us
We'll
again.
be on Discord. You can send us DMs, but don't send us too many DMs. But we'll always be here for you.
When you want to.
When
Alright.
we want
All
to.
right, bye, Ben. We're never seeing you again. Maybe we'll see Joe.
Oh
On a
my
serious
goodness.
note, though, guys,
Yeah, I'm
the
just
reason
kidding, I'm
why
just
you
kidding.
have more volunteers is because if you didn't know, when we first started the company as a two-person operation, it was a lot of work. I still remember packing up all the computers to go to Hickman High School to do our exhibition match, then packing them all up with maybe Austin in tow and Rob. But now that we have a fleet of people that we hope to take on a full-time position, this will free us up to truly create what Ukatsu has always intended to be, which is a national scaling brand where you will have a Ukatsu in Denver, you'll have a Ukatsu in Austin, Texas, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles, you name it, so that eventually we can do things like Ukatsu Con. And ladies and gentlemen, please understand that in order for any of that to happen, we do have to shake hands with a lot of powerful people out there. And so that is ultimately the job as the co-founders and CEOs of Ukatsu. But fear not, because we'll always be around, like Ben was saying, and we have lovely people like Mr. Sammons to embrace you with his kindness and personality.
Apparently, my laugh is what gets people to be happy, I guess.
Yeah, your smile. It's you have like a Santa Claus.
Yeah.
Jolly, merry. It's
There
the
it is.
cheeks. It's the eyes. It's the teeth. It's the teeth like peeking through the mustache type of thing. Liv, did you want to add anything before we wrap up our Ukatsu news?
Not really. We're gonna have more people for the new building, so that's exciting. We'll have be able to have more events with more people. So
Yeah.
if you're not able to make open plays on Sundays or you're not able to make other events, we're gonna be upping the frequency and adding more events. So
Absolutely.
that's why we need more people, and that's why we need Ben and Joe to go do the shaking of the hands.
Yeah, and if you're interested in volunteering, whether you're a parent, college kid, we're even experimenting with high schools to youngins volunteering. Be sure to reach out to us at info@ukatsu.org. Big shout outs to our recent volunteers that have really been killing it lately. That'd be Jeff, Cody. Today we had Arabella, a part of our Overwatch camp. If I missed you, I'm sorry, but can't thank you enough. So now, it is time for the segment that will always be known as Introduced by Tom, Best Worst Thing. For me, it's the worst thing. But I understand that it also could be best worst thing, and that is moving. If you guys didn't know, Ukatsu is moving locations late August. It was mid-August. Now it's late August. We also have to move apartments, Ben and Sammons, because we're now roommates all together. Oh, hey.
Yay.
And at the same time, Liv has to move an entire house. So you guys, who wants to go first? Best worst thing, moving. Go.
Well, hey, the best part about it is it's a new horizon. Grass is greener on the other side. You're going to a new place. All right, so you go there, and you're like, this, it beats everything that I had before. And then you move. And then you start picking stuff up. And you're like, I have to
necessarily agree with that.
Oh, what do you think, Liv?
Sometimes people have to downsize. That's not a happy time.
Oh, like...
Less space to clean.
I'm poorer. Now I must move.
Yeah, I was like, some of us have like the other option. Like we literally have nothing. Joe and I rent a location right now that's fully renovated, so we got rid of all of our
Furnished,
stuff.
probably furnished.
I mean,
yeah.
technically, me and Teddy are moving into a smaller house, which will have less space. But I am doing that because I am not there that often, and I don't need that much
And it's
space.
cheaper.
It is
Silver
cheaper.
lining, it gets rid of all your junk.
Yes.
You know, where you every time you pack up, you're like, oh my gosh, I've never looked at this stuff in a year. I myself, since 2011, have moved every single year, where I've packed up all of my belongings. I've packed up most of my roommates' belongings that they've left behind, and I've moved it all to a new location. And it is by far the worst thing, the worst thing all year round. I hate it so much, but the silver lining, like Sammons says, it's like a fresh start. It feels like a fresh start, where every single year you go, well, this roommate had these qualities that I'd like to get away from. Luckily, things are going to change, and that still applies. I can't wait to move out.
My moving's different this time because we actually have real furniture. So now, and we're moving basically down the street to a different neighborhood, but I have to now rent a U-Haul because I have like 2 bedroom sets. I have kitchen furniture, I have living room furniture, I have adulted, and now I have to pay to adult. I have a piano, which I'm gonna need all your guys' help on because it takes like it's gonna take like 4 people to lift. Me and Teddy can't physically lift it, so
I'll say movers. I'm definitely hiring movers when I have that opportunity too.
yeah.
Anything to add to that, Benny boy?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm realizing how much stuff I don't have anymore. I don't have much stuff anymore. That's kind of sad. Yeah, the hardest part about moving is literally moving. But I love setting up. Like, you get to do space and you make it your own. You move the bed around like 6 or 7 times, put all the stuff up. And for me, it's like my little cave, and I'm okay living there for forever, and it's great. But yeah, you know, escaping things like bad roommates or all that. I hope our roommates don't listen to this. Oh, that'd be terrible. But I want a kitchen again.
Putting it out there. It's messy up there,
Yeah.
guys. We've talked about this.
Kitchen's pretty
There's no hiding this anymore.
Yeah.
So if you're listening, big shout outs to our roommates, Brendan
And Eric.
and Eric.
Yeah, we want a kitchen back.
That's the only bad. It's not like they're bad.
No, they're not. They're fine.
just messy.
I want a kitchen again. So, yeah, no. Otherwise, Matt, yeah, moving. I got rid of like 3 bags of clothes. I ate a Goodwill, so I'm pretty
Nice.
sad.
You made a lot of kids happy. They're probably like, wow, I got these expensive
I was just
clothes.
like, I have never worn this pair of pants before. But I guess you guys I should get rid of it. I guess I've never worn these jeans before. So.
Yeah. What if you accidentally put your like nice shoes in a bag?
I was so
and then
my
give
bad,
it
and I
away?
gave the bag. Walls of freaks. I had 2 bags when I cleaned. I had 1 bag of trash and 1 bag of
$800 shoes.
not shoes. It was just Goodwill clothes. And I put them both in my car, and I was really afraid that I grabbed the trash bag, or grabbed the clothes bag and I threw it in the dumpster when I got back to the car. And I was like, whoa, wait, that doesn't look the same. And I was lucky.
Yeah.
I was okay. So.
First thing that always goes up is the gaming computer.
Yes.
Oh, 100%.
Forget
Yes.
everything else. Is my bed there? Yes.
Does the
Can I
internet
put
work?
sheets
The
on
Ethernet?
it? No. But I'm gonna put up my gaming computer right now.
I'll tell you. You do
desk.
the bed to test and see how much room it's going to take up, and then immediately next is the gaming
What is
setup.
it? Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You have, shelter, food,
Mhm.
air, gaming, PC, psychological, safety. I can't remember what it is.
Yeah. But again, thank you, Tom, for introducing this this segment. Best worst thing. It will continue to live on in your name. So moving, bam, stamp. Best worst thing. All right. So now we are talking our topic of the week, which I'll have to pull up my notes real quick over here. In recent news, I pulled this off of Vice. We'll link the article in the show notes for everyone to read. But it talks about the new research on how to treat gaming addiction. And what it said is that you don't necessarily need drugs, like medicinal drugs, to solve this issue. And you don't have to completely abstain. That means cut yourself off completely from video game in order to cure your addiction. I thought it was very interesting. There were a few flaws in the research. Again, it only looked into males because males are the ones that consistently check themselves in for video game addiction and how to solve that. But what they also said is that in most cases, women who do that, they have the same, they show very similar results. But I wanted to ask all of you guys at the table today if you've ever felt addicted to video games and maybe why. That was part of the study too. It said they pulled out their journals every single time they wanted to play video games and wanted to commit themselves to hours of gaming. And they said, why are you doing this? So every single time they wrote that down, it was a part of their cure. So yeah, I'll leave the floor open to discussion.
Well, I would say no. And I think first off, it's important to address that, like video game addiction. Some kids or other people or adults might think it's like kind of a joke. Well, being addicted to video games, like what is that? And you know, I just want to say that first and foremost, I think that's entirely reasonable. Objectively, anything that's kind of can negatively impact your life, if it's that obsessive or compulsive, and it's just sort of that big of a deal, a part of your life that negatively impacts it, is indeed an addiction. And I think video games can be very much so, especially for young adults who have real responsibilities and things like that, and for young kids who maybe don't have the self-control or maybe the support to manage that when they're younger, can develop those same kind of tendencies. Personally, though, I love video games. Video games are like my life, but probably not. I've had my own issues before with not like addiction. It doesn't really matter, but like I know what addiction is like, and I know what that actually is. And for video games, it's never actually been a problem. I've always understood where its place is in my life. It's primarily been an entertainment factor for me. That wasn't never like a job or anything like that, at least growing up. And since starting this company, where I've entered my young adult life, I should say, quote unquote, I've had the least amount of time ever to play video games, surprisingly, believe it or not. So, no, I don't think, at least for me personally, it's been an addiction or something I've never been able to manage, contrary to what my parents probably believed. But, yeah.
Yeah. What do you think, Mr. Sammons?
Well, I know that I've definitely struggled at some points in my life with video games and other responsibilities when it comes to, well, I really don't want to do this, like write a paper or do this chore, so I'm just going to play my game. And it's very easy. It's like a trap that you don't see until you are fully enclosed and can't really find a way out because the deadline has come and gone. So, but I will say too that it is it's kind of it's not easy to get away from, but it's very doable because I guess I never got seriously addicted because I never got to the point of, well, it's this time of day, I have to play my game now. Like I never got to the
Like
point
a
of
smoker.
Right, I never got to the point of like I'm having withdrawal, where's my game? I need to go play my game. For me it was usually just like an escape from the struggle of life, the chores, the just not having fun.
Being
part of
the
life.
youngest child.
Yeah. that was sometimes fun, but usually not the most fun. So, but I will say that I don't know. Gaming can be dealt with. It doesn't have that same chemical need that a lot of other things do.
Mm-hmm.
So,
yeah. Liv, did you want to add to this? I know you've played games the least out of all of us, but have you experienced addiction?
I have not. I can see how it can work. I know, like with social media, like it's not the same thing, but the fact of the reward that you get if you win or you achieve something that releases dopamine can become addicting, just like it can in social media. And I know that like I found myself checking social media too much, so I feel like it would be around the same sort of feeling. But no, I haven't been addicted to video games, but I think it's something serious that we should be talking about and figuring out a way to help people who do have video game addiction.
I think what's important to recognize too, especially for anyone who's listening, is that it doesn't necessarily have to be like I play video games 20 out of the 24 hours a day to be addicted. It's kind of like Sammons says, like I have an assignment, and instead of doing that assignment, instead of going to work, I chose to play video games. And you're right, it's a conjunction of that dopamine, that effect that you get from escaping to another world that you enjoy, that you love competing in, that you can be yourself in. Video games is a magical place that allows you to do so much more than in your real world, which maybe isn't as fun. But if you're ever making a conscious decision to not just procrastinate, but actively choosing not to do something you're supposed to do, something that you're responsible for, like your classwork, like going to work, like taking care of your body, like going to sleep, arguably that, in all intents and purposes, is kind of an addiction. If that's something you continually choose, you make that decision over and over again, that is something that's, like, every smoker says, like, I can stop whenever I want, I could go to bed whenever I want, I could do my homework whenever I want. But if you're, consciously making that decision, that is kind of an addiction. It is negatively impacting your life, and it's important. It's really important to at least recognize and address and acknowledge.
Yeah, it sounds like I've been the closest out of this table to addicted to video games. I used to play so many video games, and I think Ben and I, like, we have a different upbringing, especially when we hit our teenage years, where you had a very social life. You were very popular in school. You had football and all these track and all these things to get interested in, whereas I felt like I was only really qualified at video games. I could do schoolwork, yeah, but anyone could really do schoolwork if they memorized this curriculum and performed well in that. But for me, I think video games probably teetered on the point of being very unhealthy for me personally, where recent announcements from the World Health Organization said gaming disorder is the proper term for it, where if it negatively impacts your other areas in life, it could be considered one of your things that you are addicted to. Maybe video games themselves nowadays, because of free-to-play models, could be more addictive in their chemical effects on the brain. Maybe not to the point of smoking, obviously, but there's definitely merit to saying that, hey, you're playing too many video games to the point where you're stealing money from your parents, where you are eluding anything else in life, such as your health and wellness and your well-being. I think procrastination is a whole nother topic. I think everyone procrastinates, no matter what it is. Whether we procrastinate on working out, even though we say we will, or we procrastinate on our annual taxes because we say we will. Those are things that are just not fun to do, so I understand why we push those things off. But it's at that point for me where I think, I'm going to play this game, and I need to feel like I'm good at something for once, instead of dealing with my very antisocial life, or my social life was attempted and failed miserably, and therefore I am very sad about that. Let me go feel better about being top DPS in World of Warcraft now. So I did feel like sometimes I would just log in. Sometimes I would just log into World of Warcraft and sit there, and it would be like, I don't really want to do anything here either, but I already feel better.
Yeah, I get that a lot. I think I had friends that were like that way for World of Warcraft, and I think, when I've heard that, when we talked about our past lives before, Joe, and I've always wondered, like, I feel like I could have been that way. I felt the same way about all the video games I played, but you're right, the social life I had was a little bit different, to the point where I was literally dragged out of my room from people that came over to make me go out and do things.
That's what happened to me, too.
Yeah, just like, I just had all these other obligations that took me away from video games, which I honestly kind of resented. But it did create a separation, I guess, between the two. But I had friends the same way that said the same thing, the exact same ththing. Where I don't even like World of Warcraft, but I just log in every single day because it's my game. It's what I do. I just need to be here, and and then luckily, I don't know, luckily maybe not luckily, I don't know. It sounds so negative, but he actually started doing more things, found friends, and went out. And I think that's one of the main reasons why we started Ukatsu, was just to offer more opportunities for you to feel like yourself, or to feel better about yourself outside of the game, whether it's building communities, relationships, or just other opportunities to feel passionate about something.
Yeah, I remember the very, very particular time in my life where I started apologizing to my Call of Duty and my World of Warcraft friends. I was like, sorry, I'm going out. I can't make this raid time. I can't do the scrim. And they're like, oh, he's going out now, But I felt a lot better in life about that. At the same time, I missed it a lot too. So it kind of brought me away from something that I was very passionate about, which is video games. But it gave me the comfort of actually knowing that people accepted me for who I am, what I look like, my background and ethnicity. Those are all very big issues that don't really belong in this addiction talk, but those are the things that prompted me to feel addicted to World of Warcraft, MMOs, and like, I think when people joke around about being addicted to WoW, there's a definitely serious, backstory to everyone's WoW addiction.
I think from my experience too, when I was in high school and in college, I was never really good at any sports or anything like that. So I don't know. It wasn't like my space to get respect from my peers. So that's why I turned to video games. I would usually be like, well, I can't show off my physical skills, so
Yeah.
I'll log into this game and I will do my best to get the respect that I desire from random people online. And I think that's a big part of the driving so-called addiction. And it is because people need that social interaction. They need that respect. They need that feeling. So whether they get it from interacting physically with people or interacting online, I think that is the driving force of the gaming addiction.
Yeah, and like Liv said, that brings us into social media and how people want to feel validated, or they want to know what's going on, or how life should be. So they turn towards the internet these days. I'd really like to talk to somebody who really is like, hard stop, I had to quit video games, period. They go
to those retreats.
I've talked to
rehabs.
spouses, or not, maybe ex-spouses, I guess, that have said, hey, I've lost my fiance because he chose video games over me. Like, yeah. So those are very interesting stories that I would love to invite to this podcast. If you're listening and you feel like, I'm an adult now and I absolutely had to quit, or I'm a kid now and I absolutely had to quit, they were not helpful to my personal success, we would love to welcome you on this channel, because that's what we're all about at Ukatsu. Like, we're not trying to cast away anybody, but we'd love to bring this conversation full circle for all sides to see what is the answer. And I think what we're getting at is balance. Obviously, play with a purpose is our tagline. But yeah, video game addiction, it's no joke. But I think, as Ben said earlier, it takes a lot to be officially addicted to something. But having that self-reflection and self-analysis is always good. Anyone want to add?
Yeah, I think the last thing I was going to say, it's actually not that big of a deal, but all those documentaries that kind of show people who have been addicted to video games, they go to rehab, or they're out in the wilderness where there's no electricity. The most interesting thing I've heard from those is that those individuals don't blame video games. They don't say, like, video games are bad. They're just straight up unhealthy. It's not good. Don't do video games, kids, like you would for most rehabs that are talking about, alcohol or drugs. But it just wasn't the best for me. It wasn't the best for where I was, and I'm better off for it. And I think that's great. It's not putting anyone down, and it's just like a personal choice that helps someone else find more from life. And that's not to say people who play video games aren't there, as some rehabilitated people kind of feel about certain substances, right? So
All right. Well, I think that's a perfect summation, Ben. You really tied a good knot on that. And on that note, guys, thank you so much for listening to our Ukatsu podcast. Hope you enjoy the middle of the hot summer. Holy moly, I have rashes from the sun. So you'll see me in some sleeves pretty soon. Be sure to share this podcast, like and subscribe. We're 140 likes away on Facebook from 1,000. So even if you don't have Facebook, maybe make an account, a throwaway account, and just like us, please. We can get some really cool stuff from Epic Games. But anyone want to add anything?
Keep on being you.
Keep on being you. A rainbow appears in front of your monitor screen, and the world is all right. Ellie's sleeping in my lap right now, and the sun is setting upon your beautiful soul. Good night, everyone. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye. Oh my gosh.